Hello, everyone. We're live. It's a webinar we've been all waiting for quite a bit. We have Fabrice Canel from Bing with us, and we just had this chat before going live about Fabrice's career at Microsoft. So he's working at Microsoft for 23 years. And his role is quite complex as well because I have to look into my notes. He manages the web data platform, which we'll get to, I guess, in a second, and Bing Webmaster Tools. But long story short, Fabrice is the person to talk about everything related to Bing. I had numbers of quotes from Fabrice in my presentations on number of topics, but I'm so happy to finally meet you face to face, let's call it that. So hello, Fabrice.
Hello everybody. Thank you for Bartosz for the introduction. Yeah, I'm on Microsoft for quite a little bit of time. This is my work, this is my passion. At the end is, if your site is missing from Bing, that's me. So obviously I will disclose how to help you in order that I don't receive email from you because my mailbox cannot scale. Yeah, so let's get your content index.
Exactly. And we also have Tomek Rudzki with us, Head of Research and Development at Onely. If you know Tomek, you know he's really excited about everything in the topic of indexing, rendering. That's why we have him with us today. And myself, I'm Bartosz. I'm a CEO of Onely. So let's get moving with that. So today, what we want to talk about, what we want to address is that the web gets way bigger year over year, but also it's not even about the number of websites, number of pages. We also struggle quite a bit with new technologies getting more and more expensive to render, obviously to store and index with the rise of JavaScript frameworks and everything else. Most of the search engines get a little bit overwhelmed with that. We know that Google is struggling with indexing over the past few years. And I wanted to talk about the same problem at Bing. So long story short, if we want to make sure that our e-commerce website, any website we have is properly indexed on Bing so it can rank, what would be the first step?
So I will start by the top level items and then we can zoom it during this presentation. I don't want to jump in immediately to the detail. Yeah, the first is obviously to have your content discoverable. Mean if I don't know if you are hiding your content on the internet, that's hard to find it. Maybe we are not aware of not only the home page, but also the leaf pages. Where are you linking the content? How are you linking the content? So step number one is about discovery. The step number two is about selection. As you were sharing, we are aware of billions of URL on the internet. In fact, every day my system discover more than 70 billion distinct URL that I never seen before, including normalization. I mean, I'm applying normalization on parameters and really trying to minimize the number of links on the internet that I can find. And so this is enormous, this is huge. So you have to do work in order that we select the best content, you help us, you guide us to this good quality content that you care about indexing. The third is about fetching. We want to fetch the content. We want to download this content to see this content is relevant. So obviously you need to let us fetch the content because if we cannot fetch the content, then we cannot index the content. And the first step is all about processing this content. Mean that we need to understand this content. Yes, we have to deal with JavaScript, we have to deal with other things, but at least you can help us, guide us to extract the good quality content from these web pages.
Okay, that's a fairly nice path of getting discovered and selected, and then basically fetched.
Yeah.
But I have a question regarding the selection part. That's actually something that we struggle with with Google, and I was wondering your point of view from Bing's point of view. So with Google, we have this problem of selection that you can also get kicked out of Google Index because they need to make room for other websites and so on. I find this a little bit confusing from webmaster standpoint. Do you also do that? Can you get kicked out of Bing to make room for like higher quality content?
Yeah, we have a finite capacity at the end of the day that I cannot disclose today, and I think Google will do the same. They cannot disclose the capacity they use for indexing. But you need to think that we are indexing a lot of content, really a lot of content. So if this is, again, I cannot say a number, but it's huge. So if you have relevant content, yes, we will index it. So if you have gray area, borderline content, yeah, there is a chance that we do not index it. So if you focus on quality and minimize the number of URL, then, more likely, we will index nearly everything, potentially everything. I used to communicate via blog posts or in conferences, less is more. Focus on less URL, output less URL, you will benefit, and the search engine will be obviously guided toward this quality content, and yes, we will index it.
We have these conversations with our clients quite often, and they usually say, but we want more content being indexed. So this is a problem that I guess every single search engine will struggle with, that everyone thinks that their content is the most important. But regarding the fetch, and I don't want to get too technical, but would you consider new technologies to be a blocker in getting online? So if I'm a client-side rendered Angular website, or in simpler terms, if I'm very heavy on the JavaScript end, would that slow down indexing at Bing?
So I will speak about that in 2 minutes. I will first, again, on this idea of finding the content that is relevant, including on new technology things, we offer ability to really guide us, to help you, guiding us on the content that really matter. So we look at sitemaps. We try to download sitemap once a day these days. We also offer abilities to tell us if your content has been added, updated, or deleted. So we offer API to tell us if there's content, if you publish new content. It's all about, at the end, you know more than us. Yes, my team is really talented, expert in machine learning and a new tech thing. That's great. But they cannot beat you. You know more than me, more than my team, what's happening on your website. So please help us, guide us, tell us what is changing on your site, what is new, updated, and deleted content. And then our fetcher will just go to visit this content to get the latest content. Again, so many URLs on the internet, you know more than me. When you update something, you should tell me, hey, I changed this URL. And then BingBot is visiting this URL. Great, we get the latest content.
And Fabrice, what is the best way to tell you about changes, like via indexing app API or by sitemaps? Let's say last modification or...
Yeah, both. So sitemap is a great way to tell all search engine about what's happening on your site. Think about it as a daily snapshot of all relevant URL listed on your site. Mean you can refresh them real time or refresh them ideally at least once a day to list all relevant URL listing on your site. And search engine chew on it, they read it, they consume it, and this is a signal telling them, hey, there is all this quality content, or potentially not, because we see also stale sitemaps. So at the end is think about your sitemap, review your sitemap if you are in SEO to make sure that you are guiding only to quality sitemaps. Again, once a day, great story. But the internet these days and the new generation, it's all about fresh things, all about new things. If you fix a typo, if you fix something on your website, if you add an URL, you don't want to wait. You should not have nightmares during the night about, hey, will search engine come to pick up my latest content? No, we offer you the ability to control the experience at Bing, providing the ability to tell us via an API what changed on your site. So we offer that via global API. We offer a WordPress plugin, free WordPress plugin, open source plugin that you can install on your WordPress site. And feel free to reuse the code to do in other content management system to tell us real time what has changed on your site.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you a question, a technical one. Not sure if this is something you can answer, so just feel free to say potato if you cannot. But regarding the sitemaps, there is this very popular, it's almost an urban legend quote from, I think it was Bing back in the day, that you ignore sitemaps if there is even 1% of URLs wrong in it. So I'm not getting to that urban legend, but I'm wondering, are you accepting sitemaps even if they're somehow faulty? Because from what we're seeing at Onely, most of the sitemaps are somehow they contain quite a lot of junk, to call it directly. So what's Bing approach to that?
So this is true that some sitemaps are really good quality, and in fact, a large percentage of sitemaps are good quality if we look at the total number. There is WordPress. Google did help WordPress to generate all sitemaps automatically on WordPress. So if you look at the total number of sites having WordPress and having the sitemaps, the total number of sitemaps is good quality in general. You have big companies also having sitemaps that are generating once a day or once a week, generating a lot of good quality URL. But there is also a lot of sitemaps that are stale, where people forget to reset the password, the task that is generating the sitemap, and we see stale sitemaps. We are able to understand that. We are able to classify that. And so we will trust more or less if we see that sitemaps are useful or not useful. Some sitemaps are enormous. You have sitemaps on the internet that are linking to dozens of billions of URL. So obviously, we may not have, there is a lot of useless content often in the sitemaps because not on the internet is relevant. And so this is, we take into account the sitemaps. This is still guiding us to URLs, helping us to discover URL on the internet. And so this is very useful. Please, again, on SEO, please do sitemaps that matter, linking only to relevant content, helping search engine to guide us to relevant content. And our machine learning will learn that, oh, this is a source of good quality content, and we'll trust it more or less based on our own heuristics.
So if I have a sitemap that's clean every single time, my sitemap will be better than Tomek's sitemaps, where there's a lot of junk every single time.
Yeah, we are able to understand that and classify that and consume that in our system to discover the content and to fetch the content and to process the content. This is one of the signals. There is other, obviously, information taken into account. We don't fully rely only on sitemaps. We do also a lot of crawl to discover content, especially because some sites do only, via sitemap, a partial linking. They don't link to all content, unfortunately. Often it's not comprehensive enough, and it may not be fresh enough. So we apply different techniques to try to find the content, but sitemap is important to do sitemaps and also to use the API to tell us real time if the content is updated, added, or deleted on your site. If you do the two, you are well covered. You are guiding us on links that matter on your site.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Fabrice. This is a very comprehensive answer. So now we're indexed on Bing. The question is, how do we rank well on Bing? Like, what would be your recommendation? And I don't want to ask the obvious question of like, should I do links or whatever, but what would you recommend to webmasters out there to rank well on Bing?
So step number one is to Bing or Google and type Bing Webmaster Guidelines. Last summer, we wrote a new version of the guidelines. We do this every 5 to 6 years. And so we spend time to really think through and define what should be in these guidelines, what we should communicate to all webmasters to help them getting their content index and getting their content rank, or also taking care of quality, mean obviously don't be a spammer, avoid junk website to help us rank your content and not exclude you from our index. So if I'm reading right now, I'm looking at the Webmaster Guidelines, but clearly this is all about, at the end, your content. Mean this is the relevance. this is writing content that obviously matter. If our judges or our customer think this content is not relevant for your queries, for a query, then this content may not rank as good as you want in future queries. So writing content is the key, obviously, after getting your content index to rank your content in top position. It's also quality and credibility. Example, sites as Wikipedia is great. They're answering questions on everything, on each and everything. But will you trust this site if you have a disease? Or maybe not. This is good information, but maybe you will look at some medical website reference, trusted reference to learn more about this disease. You want also some quality and credibility website, expert that is not open to everybody. Third is user engagement. Yes, Bing is looking at everything, including clicks on the page, to understand if customers are love our results or not. So what we call the dwell time, this is the time spent on clicks, matter for Bing. We disclose that. Fourth is freshness. This matter if you want prefer recent information than legacy information. Location matter. If you want a pizza, obviously you want a pizza from a local shop. You don't want a pizza from New York, let's say, if you are based in Seattle. And information as page load time and quality of page also matter. Technical information about the quality of a destination page from a technical standpoint. So kind of, this is the 6 bullet points that are in the search quality guidelines, in our webmaster guidelines, are kind of the 6 things that we are looking at primarily.
And that's actually extremely interesting because clicks on the page and dwell time are both metrics that Google really is trying to communicate that they don't really use. So this is an endless conversation between SEO and Google. You probably are well aware of that. So this is probably one of the main differences between Bing and Google. Obviously, if Google's statement is correct, which we probably won't know, do you know about any other main differences if we want to compare that between Bing's ranking factors and Google's or any other search engine's ranking factors? So what do you have any specific unique things you look at compared to other search engines?
So I cannot disclose too much of what we do for 2 reasons. One is I am not in this ranking team, the team that is retrieving the content on the internet. So I cannot speak on their really behalf except to list what's in the Bing Webmaster Guidelines. But yeah, you're right. This is one of the key differences. Obviously, there is a lot of machine learning techniques that are proprietary to Bing that they don't do, and vice versa. But at the end, we are kind of in sync in terms of communication to webmasters to tell them have a sitemap, write good quality content, don't be crazy with JavaScript. This is common things, and yes, you should not do something that is really specific for Bing in this area, except one thing. This is this API where we see a lot of ability for webmaster to tell us what has changed on the site. Google does not have this at scale. They just have that for jobs. They don't have that at scale. And so this is one of the key differences that we have. We believe that we are adding value for the community, for the ecosystem, helping to get the content index and helping removing global warming, because this is helping us to fetch less content on the internet on sites that are adopting this feature. But else, you're right. This is kind of the same, except as we disclose, yes, we track clicks and we use clicks. At the end, Bing is all about satisfying Bing customer. So if we found that clicks is useful to help Bing customer finding the relevant results on the internet, why not using clicks? This is a good data to look at, and I can assure you this is good data to look at to help our Bing customer.
Before this statement is going to be widely misunderstood, what do you mean by clicks? Do you mean CTRs from SERPs, so search engine results, or do you mean internal clicks, so when someone goes to my page and they click a lot within my page?
Yeah, so I cannot disclose exact things that we do in this area. Obviously, we are always chasing for people who are clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking the link, because we know that it's a fake click. And this is always this, as soon as you start clicks, and we disclose that we look at clicks, then people are clicking the link. And yes, if you click the link, then it's a bad feedback loop, because this is not a real click. This is not a user click. So we are dealing with this, and we are improving our techniques always, because we look at clicks, and so we are able to detect what is a good clicks and a bad clicks and a trusted clicks and a non-trusted clicks. But I cannot disclose detail about CTR or all these things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but I have a question. So imagine that I'm trying to rank for SEO, and my website is like 4th on the ranking. But when people see, okay, my website is great, so they keep clicking like natural users, then can it rank, let's say, number 1 if people see?
Yeah, it's all about, at the end, not only the clicks. Clicks is just one very small part of the whole picture. There is things that we disclose and things that we cannot disclose, but obviously, if your website is about Facebook, you have very little chance to be at position 1 for the query Facebook. Because overwhelming information that this is from links, from clicks, from everything we know about Facebook will tell us that for a query Facebook, no, facebook.com should be at top position. But if your website is great, you have a chance to be at top position for your specific content area, niche query things that matter for the business. So this is where there is this diversity of results, where we can see content from different websites, small website to big website. Wikipedia is not always at top position. There is all kind of website that may surface in top position, or Q&A answer, question and answer at top position, because we give a chance to everybody. And often we may do right, often we may do wrong, but we learn and we improve as we go. But again, any site has a chance to be in top position.
Okay, so you mentioned that some people will click quite a bit. So I wanna, we have a question from the audience. I wanna ask you this question. This is from Tomasz Stopka, actually a guy we know in Poland, very smart SEO guy. So he's wondering if Bing has something like Google's Panda or Penguin algorithm to stop showing spam. So this is the question that goes to you, I guess, Fabrice. And like, if I'm a little bit too crazy with spam at Bing, what happens?
So we disclose that in the Bing Webmaster Guidelines about things to abuse and example of things to avoid if that things that we communicate to avoid. Obviously, start by cloaking, avoid having fitting a lot of keywords in your pages and a lot of links on your pages. Link scheme, avoid linking cross-building link farm. Social media scheme, where again, we see a lot of links from social media and user-generated content. Duplicate content, obviously, if you clone Wikipedia and so on, you may not be. And scrape content, again, kind of duplicate content, keyword stuffing, automatic generated content, machine translation content. I won't go over the whole list, but please look at Bing Webmaster Guidelines, and there is a lot of things to avoid. And if you are detected as one of the sites doing this, we are sorry, but automatically our algo may what we call demote you. You will not be in top position. You won't be in page 1 of search results. Or clearly, we will have to, let's say, exclude you because you don't follow the rules. And it's unfair for other sites that do the right things from SEO, and you do your keyword stuffing and link stuffing. And sorry, but you are not playing with the rules.
So will I get some kind of memo in Bing Webmaster Tools about that?
Yeah, in Bing Webmaster Guidelines, there is a complete section. Type Bing Webmaster Guidelines, and you will see this complete section. I will paste in the chat window the link, and you will see this session, this page about how to exclude and include content at Bing, except that I cannot paste. I don't know how to paste here. If you can paste it, this will be great. I can only paste in the private chat. I cannot paste in the comments. So if you can paste these links, this may be useful for the community to, again, review our guidelines and review what the cloaking session, the spam junk session. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I just want to mention that you have these bad things memorized quite well, so I can tell that this happens often.
Oh yes, we have fun every day. This is what keeps me on this job. So again, I work for years, and the beauty of the internet is really fuzzy. Every day this is a new issue. People doing good quality site, doing unbelievable mistakes, SEO mistakes, and we have to chase them to say, what are you doing? Please do not put a no index on all your pages. Oh, this is really, okay, why this result is at top position and one or spam techniques didn't catch this yet. This is really interesting. This is every day is a new day, and really interesting to be on this job. Yeah.
So I also want to just take a quick pause and mention that I had to reach out to Fabrice through clients of ours or through some other means years ago when we had a client problem. And even though that this was a fairly small website, I was impressed with your response because you acted within, I don't even remember because it was a while ago, but it was a day or two before the problem was addressed and you answered. So I was extremely impressed by that. So huge thank you from the community for that, Fabrice. But I wouldn't be myself if I didn't ask. You have a penalty for social media links. Why is that? Are they considered a ranking factor at Bing?
No, there is good quality social links and there is bad quality social links. This is all the story about are you generating a link farm for social links? Is it something that is really trustable versus other good quality article? If you write a long article about this other page to tell, hey, this is WebMD, this is a good quality site speaking about medical things and blah, and blah, and blah. Or it's just a quick links with really no substance, no data to tell us if this is relevant or not. So if you see something that is well written, something that is a high quality link, matter more than a quick something on the internet because it's so easy to do these things. Yeah.
Okay, Fabrice, I have a question. So let's imagine that I have a website, publish some good content. Then I decide, okay, let's ask some other people to write content for my website, and it's like tons of articles, like thousands, by various publishers. Then you judge the quality based on one article or the whole website.
So again, this is a global graph, global understanding of who is linking to who. If you see a lot of .info, .edu things that is linking to the same page, it's maybe suspicious. It may be something that is not as relevant as trusted sites, let's say news organization and other sites where people are writing good quality content that link to pages. It's so easy. At the end, Bartosz, you were telling us that the internet is increasing day over day, and we see that. And it's so easy these days to generate and to duplicate content all over the internet or form of the content. So yes, obviously we take that into account, that it's so easy for spammers and bad actors on the internet to generate a lot of content. And so we prefer content that is from trusted source, from trusted content, that other content that may be more junky, more spammy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but okay, that different example when I have like the search section on my website. Most of search is good because I don't have category pages, but then Bing is starting to index like lots of parameters, just imaginary situation, lots of parameters on this search, like very spammy search pages on my website. Can it affect my ranking overall or not?
This is just one thing. Yes and no. It may, based on one dimension. Again, what's happening in search engine these days is, don't think it's hundreds of parameters. This is tens of thousands of features that are competing each other, and deep machine learning stack, really deep, that is acting on all these features to find the best relevant results based on quality guidelines, clicks, and information and data that we can. So from an SEO standpoint, it just follow the guidelines, do the right things. Yes, there will be always corner case, and yes, we try to at the end maximize satisfaction in big result page by looking at all these dimensions. But yeah, do not try to focus on only one thing, because there is so many data, so many variables in play, that what you do there may not be completely demoting you in the results. This is, again, part of a bigger picture that is in play.
So just to continue our focus on one metric, and I'm sorry for that, there is a lot of talk going throughout the whole internet around what Google announced and calls Core Web Vitals. So Google is really pushing websites, developers, website owners, focus a little bit more on web performance and on, it's not only web performance, but also sorts of user metrics, UX metrics. Are you planning something like that at Bing as well?
So I do believe this is a good initiative. Again, there is good things when they communicate to webmasters about things that we trust. Obviously, if you have a site that is lightning fast, yes, it's good for your customer, it's good for the internet, it's good for search engine. So I think it makes sense. I will not over-optimize it. I mean, at the end, I will think about kind of 3 buckets or 2 buckets. My site is super slow, or my site is fast, and I don't think they can differentiate really fast from super fast. 1 millisecond gains will change the game. Not really. It's depending on where your customers are, where your web server are, or are you caching on the internet? Is it a first customer where the JavaScript may not be loaded? There is all kind of variable. So at the end, think your website as a 2-3 buckets. Is my site is slow, really slow, or fast? And I will not try to optimize too much for this millisecond thing. If my site is under 2 to 3 seconds, yeah, it's kind of fast, and it should be okay for most customers. Clearly, most customers do not detect the difference between a 2.2 second site and a 3 second site. There is really little to no difference for them. So I will just try to be fast. And this is fine, and this is fine for Bing too. And yes, this will be taken into account in our metrics. We will see that in clicks and other dimensions that we are looking at.
Okay, understood. So I'm guessing there are no plans of reporting Core Web Vital metrics in Microsoft Edge.
Yeah, in fact, one good things we did last year, this is really to have Edge adopting Chromium, contributing to the Chromium open source initiative that was led by Google and still led by Google. And Edge now is in Chromium. So mean that you have Lighthouse in Edge today, you have all these techniques, and we came together. We came together for sitemaps. We came together for a lot of things because at the end, this is the make life easy for webmasters and end user. And this is also helping in SEO because we have also adopted Chromium to render and Edge to render the content when we process the content. So we are fully Edge stack based. We have a headless version of Edge that is rendering the content and processing the content using kind of the same core technology than Googlebot is using to process and render the content. So the JavaScript issues that you see at Google will be the same kind of at Bing. Yes, we can do specific fixes, but in general, we prefer to collaborate with Google to improve Chromium, to fix these issues moving forward. And so any welcome that you share with Bing will not have a fix that is really dedicated to Bing. We are closely collaborating with Google on that to help processing the content.
Okay. And I have to ask if you, because I know that you've been actually rendering JavaScript. I think you've been rendering JavaScript before Google announced it, but I'm not 100% sure. But some of the cases I saw where a website would be indexed in Bing and it wouldn't be in Google. I remember that's 2015, 16, more or less, something in this ballpark. So my question is there some kind of threshold for JavaScript when you index it? So how do I say that's too much JavaScript? Is there something like that when you render content as Bing bot?
Yeah, two parts. One is related to importance of a page and related to the quota in terms of crawl quota on the site. So importance of a page mean that as disclosed by Google and other search engine, we have limited resources. We cannot dynamically render each and every page on the internet. This is also disclosed by Google in their help page. And they, as us, have to prioritize what we can dynamically render. Yes, the end game is certainly to dynamically render everything on the internet. Webmasters have to help us, or they can help us, minimizing the number of secondary resources. If you have a session ID for your JavaScript, it may not help. So try to combine CSS, JavaScript to only very few in order to minimize the number of secondary resources we have to fetch. It's not only about secondary resources, it's also about the AJAX calls that we do when we process the content. If you do lazy loading and have to call to download the pages, the content for your JavaScript pages, this is adding HTTP calls. And we are limited in our call budget. So think at, yes, ideally, we want to render, to do CSS and JavaScript rendering on each and every pages. But you are limiting us often by call quota and also by importance of this page. Top pages are JavaScript render. The bottom of the index today is not. Case at Google, case at Bing, case in all search engine. So we try to go down year after year. We try to go deeper, but we don't go to the bottom of that. This is at the end important if you have a very large library of content to optimize for search engine and to render a non-JavaScript version of a page this day because it's helping us to directly get the content.
So Fabrice, can I understand you correctly? So you got a list of priorities of pages within our website. So let's say you decide for now, for today, I can crawl 1,000 pages of a website X. Then you go from list of importance from top to bottom, and then you see if the number of requests exceeded the number of URLs you want to crawl. Let's say every page has got like 100 of requests, then it can simply make Bing stop processing other pages because you exceeded the limit, right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah. Let me take your example. You have 1,000 HTTP URL to fetch, and some of them, or not all of them, may be JavaScript render. Need to be JavaScript render. So 1,000 in general is not really a big deal, depends on the site, but let's say that, let me take 1 million URL, a very large site with 1 million URL. So then we have to decide, okay, what is the crawl quota on the sites per day? How many URLs can we fetch? And then we have to decide, okay, should I refetch everything? The webmaster more likely will not like us if we refetch all of these pages every day. And we have to decide kind of which pages are we fetching for discovery of new URL? Which pages are we refreshing to kind of refresh the content? Which pages are we fetching on new URLs. And so there is kind of buckets, and then we have to dynamically render the content, and we have to prioritize that versus other things we do, because this secondary URL may impact us in terms of crawling. And so this is kind of prioritization per site and per URL that is telling us, should we dynamically render this content? Yes, no. Based on heuristic, content change, quota, and importance of the page will tell us if we have to dynamically render the content, yes, no. Our end goal is to dynamically render all URLs on the internet if a webmaster allows us to do that, guiding us to the URL that are important and have changed on the internet.
So just to, and this is going to be a very specific question, but I'm wondering, so if I'm going to work on the call quota, so basically my, let's say rendering one page within onely.com takes 50 requests, and I'm going to dial it down to 10 requests. Can I count on getting rendered more often with Bing?
Yeah, so write good quality content, relevant content that will be ranked high at Bing. If you have a really random page, we may not get it. So we may not care about it. So at the end, it's important of the content matter to be selected and to be fetched. And you can guide us via the API to tell us, hey, this page has been added, updated, deleted, and we will come to visit this page in minutes. Then this is this page matter? Yes, we will dynamically render all this content, and you will see JavaScript processing. And if you have to download JavaScript, yes, we will try to download JavaScript and CSS to dynamically render the page and doing this secondary call to get the content downloaded. So again, this is not, I give you 10 URL, you have to do dynamically render. No, we decide based on a lot of criteria. Some is based on call quota, relevance, and importance of the page, if we want to dynamically render the content or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's maybe a kind of geeky or maybe some kind of simplification, but let's say there are 1 million of URLs on the page, and then Bing has got like 1,200 of URLs per day, and like 50 requests per page. And then if I minimize the number of requests by some kind of optimization by 5, then can Bing crawl 5 times more URLs, or it's more complicated?
It's always complicated, unfortunately. Yeah. There is a lot of parameters in play. I was trying to simplify it. As webmasters, you can do a few things to help us. Again, API, great story to help us adding URL, updating URL, and deleting URL. Second is that we offer the ability via Webmaster Tool to boost the crawl. So in general, in SEO, this is all about, hey, Bing should visit often my site. You may see some pushback from your operation people telling, hey, why are you fetching so much? But at the end is via the crawl control in Bing Webmaster Tool, you can boost per hour of the day how many crawls you can do. So we encourage everybody, obviously, to max out, to give Bing more crawl during the day. And this will influence our default value that we are computing per site, where we guess how many URL can we do for a domain or host or per IP. And then you can go to Bing Webmaster Tool and boost this kind of prioritization per hour of the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one question about mobile web. So we all know that there are more and more people who are using mobile. And what is kind of difference in terms of ranking factors for mobile and desktop?
I think almost nearly none for me. I mean, at the end, the same thing that matter for desktop matter for mobile ranking. So obviously, write good quality content and so on. Again, read the guidelines. You will see very little differences. You may have a little bit more importance on the page load time and importance like this because it matters more on mobile. And obviously, the display, mobile friendliness, things like that, that are really kind of specific to mobile. But it's applied also to desktop. I mean, if you have a bad web page, obviously this won't render fine. So what I would push for mobile is, again, this says avoid less is more. Please do not multiply the number of URL. Please avoid this m.mobile.urls. Combine, less is more, one URL is better. Duality display or dynamic serving mean render only one version of the content to Bing bot, it's fine, but only one version of the content is preferable.
Okay. Just because we're getting close to the end, I wanted to ask regarding your language processing and some of the changes regarding in how you understand content, because this is a very popular topic with Google. And I was wondering if you are planning some new deploys, like Google has a passage ranking now, when they only rank a part of the page. Within the result, part of the content, they just extract part of the content that's relevant to the query rather than showing a long form content. Are you planning anything like that at Bing as well, or any changes to how you understand language?
We did already. So I don't say that we were upfront. Maybe we should have communicated more. We did in conferences and elsewhere. But yes, if you look at the at the Webmaster Guidelines, you will see that we speak about few things, including primary content of a page. So we are able to understand pages by really visualizing them and understanding the differences between a left navigation item to footer, to we understand the notion of paragraph, we understand the notion of headings, we understand the notion of table, of list, of all these things. You see some of this in your Q&A answer, where this is not only a paragraph, this is a table, list, things, this is deep information about the page itself, where we are able to extract information from the page itself and really visualizing it to understand where the things are located in the page, going beyond just HTML parsing. So we do that already. And in the Webmaster Guidelines, again, we provide some best practices and information about how to help us, to help our machine learning to really identify this section. In this chat, I will highlight, I don't see enough people using the HTML5 semantic tags. This is really helpful to tell us what has changed on the site, such as you can specify, this is the footer tag, this is the header tag, this is the article part of the page. And it's really basic things that is really guiding, in general, the machine learning stack toward the core primary content, what we call the primary content of the page. We do something that is called the semantic document. This is what we output. This is we have a semantic view of the content, and we understand semantically the whole page content. Again, be able to differentiate all parts and be able to annotate all parts. And these days, yes, you will find more answers from the primary content than from the advertising and other parts of the page, because we are able to detect that. So as a key action item is encouraging you to go beyond the H1 tag and the H2 tag. This is look at this HTML semantic element that is really helping all search engine, I believe, Bing for sure, to identify this kind of section in the page and really attach a caption to an image. Often you have a label below or above the image. Often it's hard for search engine to differentiate. So you can specify, this HTML semantic tag to really help you, help us to understand your content.
Mm-hmm. Fabrice, imagine, okay, let's say I have a website and I want to have some money from ads, and then I place lots of ads above the fold. But of course, below that, there is great content. But can it affect ranking in Bing or not?
Yes and no, if you are malicious, until the point where we will detect you and demote you and you will be gone.
Yeah.
And so this is, at the end is, I encourage everybody to play with the rule. Some sites are really doing great and play with the rule and are so much at top position that it's impossible for bad people to really be at top position above them because they have really developed their audience, developed the link, developed the data juice that is telling us, oh, this need to be at top position. Again, you have zero chance, I believe, to beat Facebook.com at top position for the query Facebook. And the same apply for a lot of queries where people have established their brand, have established the data juice, and are at top position for all these queries. Great for them. If you play with the rule, you have a chance to find your niche, to find your keywords. There is a keyword research tool in Big Webmaster Tool that can help you to detect which keyword is useful, which keyword rank. We do that per mobile device, per country. So useful information provided in Big Webmaster Tool to help you retrieving to write quality content that matter, that have a chance to be ranked.
Okay, thank you for that, Fabrice. Like my brain is slowly about to explode because you're really pushing so much valuable knowledge. And forgive us if we're gonna push you with questions, but this is extremely exciting. This is our version of Netflix show. But anyhow, I wanted to ask you because you mentioned something that was really I think we needed to hear that regarding the HTML5 markup. And I don't want to blame Google, but they are very open in stating that they're doing very well. You don't need to use HTML5 markup that much because they will do fine. So I think this is something that we could, as webmasters, SEOs, like whoever, we should use more of HTML5. I love how this is designed, and I feel like this could bring a lot of value. But this brings me to the question that's extremely interesting for me because we see a lot of partial indexing at Google. So this is something we see. We've built actually a tool set that's checking indexing of big brands within Google. And we see that even if you get indexed very well, so let's say you're an H&M or Topshop or whatever, like a big e-commerce brand, you get indexed well, then your main content is indexed, but then everything below and on the side is completely skipped. Is this something you do at Bing as well to save resources? So just index a part of the content?
Yeah, this is a tricky question because we may do in some cases where we may understand the whole page and understand that this is a navigation item, and so no, this is not needed because you don't want to match on the related links. You want to match on the destination of the related links. So depending on the queries you do, yes, we can only some cases match on the primary content, and I think makes sense. You don't want to match on this widget advertising things, links things that is happening in the whole page. So the short answer is, in some cases, yes, we try to match, we try to satisfy the user. If you search for something, you prefer to go directly to the article, matching the things, and not match anymore on this kind of. In the past, we used to do HTML only, and clearly funneling the whole HTML page and the whole everything, the word, to the indexer. And now these days, as I say, we are able to semantically understand the page and understand the primary content. And yeah, the primary content will certainly something that we match more than the secondary content thing that is mostly for navigation and not for matching queries.
Thank you so much, Fabrice. Thank you so much. And I think this is either the last question, depending on Tomek, or second to last questions. But I wanted to ask you a very cliche question, if you say that, about the future of Bing, because I remember I have a sticker from, I think, Purna. She gave it to me at one of the conferences, and you have this motto saying, "We're not done." Which was quite interesting for me. So what's your next step as Bing? What's like, can you share a little bit of information about where you're going with the product?
So I think Bing is a snowball effect. I mean, it takes time to build a search engine. This says you cannot really build a search engine next day. It says you need really to develop the people, develop the competency, develop the data, develop the customer to satisfy the customer. We have a great competitor called Google, really talented people. And at the end, they says, oh, both, it's good to have competition and it's good to to really both work on helping people to search on the internet. If 5 years from today, you will think the search results of today were really bad. If you look back in the past, you look at search engine, Google did this for their 10 years or their 15 years. They did this vertical search where they were having the index, Google index of 10 years ago. And you were searching and you say, yeah, this is awful. This is really bad. But it was great 10 years ago. And so what is happening is that the machine learning stack is improving so much. Yes, we tell you about HTML5 and we encourage you to do HTML5. But our system is also able to understand everything from the content these days. We do more JavaScript, we do more intelligence on the content. So HTML5 is just to help the machine learning to understand your pages, because there is always corner case, and so doing these things help us at the end of the day. But this stack is really improving every day, every week. And so I do believe that both search engines will be far smarter, far able to satisfy far more queries in the next 5 to 10 years than this day. Again, I think we are at preschool and we need to go to high school pretty soon. And this technology is evolving. Microsoft is heavily investing on Bing, providing more resources, more talent, more machine, more computers to help us being more satisfying more customer, not only US, but also worldwide. Worldwide is also a key topic for us. So you will see Bing really moving forward. And yeah, you may have seen it already in your logs and in your web server logs, that we do more than in the past, and we will continue doing more. It's not to crawl more, it's also to be smarter at crawling the internet. And so my end goal is not to crawl, is to reduce global warming by API integration and things like that. But at the end is massive investment going, and I think really we are improving year over year, and you should see greater results next year than this year.
Okay, thank you for that. I think this is a beautiful ending to our conversation today. We have a wonderful comment from Sad to you, Fabrice, as well.
Thank you.
And yeah, so I wanted to first of all thank you so much for your time and for being so open to the community. We're gonna do our best to spread the word. We're gonna divide this into sections and try to promote every single thing, because I feel like this should get a little bit more eyes. Like what you're saying should see a little bit more people. And just to close it, I think what you said about machine learning is very, very insightful as well, because people don't understand that machine learning is only as smart as the data set we're going to give it. So let's do HTML5, because there's always this ratio where you're wrong. Let's do whatever possible to make search engines life better, because it's always a win-win situation, because you're going to rank better at the end of the day. Yeah, thank you so much, Fabrice. I think that's it. We're not gonna be bombarding you with questions. We could go on day and night like this, but thanks so much. We're really hoping to see you again one day, and thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, pleased to join back, and thank you for inviting. Thanks.
Thank you so much.